Isn't the energy lovely in this room? Wang Wang is sitting next to me here, so this is my first this is my coming out party. I think you did a great job. Congratulations. You practiced all those principles you talked about. So, first of all, I have to start by mentioning my wife, Julie. 44 years we've been married. She's not here tonight. And she's not here for a very good reason. We have a 13-week-old grandson, whose name is Theo. And he lives down in Modesto, California. So that didn't quite work out for her to be here. But I have this funny feeling that my next most important teacher is 13 weeks old. Because I think this guy is going to teach me about presence, about curiosity, about gracious space in his own way. I'm really looking forward to that. Pat, thank you for the really nice words. Beautiful. I'm so touched. I'm really honored. And it's really humbling. I'm sitting at the table with two remarkable people, Jabali and Shasta, young people who are, in their own way, on a mission to cultivate leadership for change. And it's inspiring to me to be with you and to be around people like Judy Piggott and others who are here who have received this award. It's a wonderful kind of association for me, so thank you. And to have my pals here, a bunch of tables, my buds, my peeps, as they say, thank you for being here. It means a lot to me. And I guess it's been shared that I'm going to be wrapping up my time as CEO after about 16 years at Horizon House. And I don't call it retirement, I call it reprierement. That's my word. Because I have a notion that it's going to be a chapter that'll be very interesting and engaging and active in its own way. But standing here, it almost doesn't make any sense for me to be here alone on this dais. Because everything that has come out that has been meaningful and lasting, talk about legacy, it's always the collective. And I have had a role in that. I accept that. But we really believe in this notion that the sides and the top and the bottom and all the parts have to be connected. And the measure of strength of an organization, its clarity and its trust, is when it is all connected. And I think that's what we have really been working on. And it's never perfect. It ebbs and flows. It is organic. But yet we have tried to be very purposeful about that and that connection. But more accurately, this event isn't about me or maybe my colleagues who are going to be honored. It's an honor for the Center for Ethical Leadership. It is about how you, as an organization, have accompanied and inspired people like me all along the way to do what we might be able to do, to encourage us. So this is really about the center tonight. And we, Shasta and Jabali, we're being used to be vehicles of that. And personally, I'm very happy to be used. Aren't you all for that? But let me take you back. I'm going to recount a little bit of what Pat did about how we in my organization discovered Pat, the center, and the gracious space principles. In 2006, as Pat mentioned, we realized that we were about to head into a period of very significant change. In the community in Seattle, there were two major new senior living communities coming in. And no longer could we as Horizon House just sort of open the door and expect everything to just keep flowing in and out. We were going to need to do something more, and it had to start with developing the building blocks of our own leaders. And we felt that if we didn't move up with our skills and our competency and our commitment to the work, that we would lose this edge. And really, I felt we were vulnerable to losing some of our best people. And I, for one, wanted to generate a stronger loyalty than we ever had, so that if any one of those people left our organization, they would feel really guilty. They would feel that they really owed us something. And so our HR director at that time, Gloria Riggers, who tooted all the way over here from Spokane, sitting there in a lovely red jacket over there, and a design team, Brad and others who were in this room, came together with Pat and began the process of figuring out, what do we want? We knew we didn't want something off the shelf. We wanted a customized leadership program. With Pat's guidance, that process began. And I, for myself, thought, okay, in an 18-month program, CEOs, they got to have, 18 months, we'll get it done. Well, it didn't really work out that way. We're still doing it, and we're never going to stop, because it doesn't stop. We have to change with the time. Pat mobilized some of the resources of the center. She brought in Bill Grace and Dale Nenow, Karma Reuter, and they delivered some really eye-popping trainings for us that we managed, I think, to weave into and embed in the culture of our organization. And so the 18 months came and went, and we said, okay, the train's still moving. We got to stay on that train. We used the principles of Gracious Space to strengthen our teams, to build trust, to manage conflict, and to develop our resilience for the change that we knew was coming. And it was the trust that we discovered is at the heart of the matter of leadership. And we became, I think, a real learning organization. We were honest about our deficiencies, and we were really curious about how we could be better together. That was really the challenge for us and the opportunity. Most of you know the basics of Gracious Space. You probably wouldn't be here if you didn't have some familiarity. But the basic principle is that it's the spirit and the setting where we invite the stranger and we learn in public. That simple phrase began to define and create a genuine welcome for even those who had a contrary point of view. And for us to say, you know what, I may not know the answer to that question, but I'm darn interested in figuring it out if you'll go there with me. And so I could talk about these principles, but I don't think that's what you want. Your dessert's pretty much done, and we got to get moving. But I am going to tell you a story. I want to illustrate how these principles came alive for us in at least one example. So after we had built this wonderful new tower, 19-story tower, $100 million program, 150 new residents, all new healthcare setting, it was a very exciting time. And my board said, okay, it's done. You get to go away for a while. So they gave me a 3-month sabbatical. I only took 6 weeks at one time because I couldn't stand to be away for a whole 3 months. And just before I left, there were some signs and signals that our brand new digital telephone and computer system was acting a little funny. And so I talked to the engineering staff, and they talked about, we'll work on it while you're gone. So off to India I went, and I got back 4 weeks later, and I just called in because I had 2 more weeks, and I was going to head off to Lummi Island, where I have a little home there to rest up for my trip, and I couldn't get anybody to answer the phone at Horizon House. And I thought, well, that's really odd. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So did everybody just decide I'm out of town and let's have a party? They're too busy? I don't think so. So I got the cell phone of my chief operating officer, and he recognized my number, and he didn't say anything except, you need to finish your sabbatical. And I said, okay, Tim, what the hell is going on? And he said, well, 15 hours ago, we had a complete system failure. We have no communications of any kind, fax, phone, computer, everything is down. We've been up all night, and there's no end in sight. We don't know exactly how we're going to get out of this, but we can do it, and you ought to, go to Lummi Island. Oh, sure. Yeah. Everybody's on their knees, and I'm going to Lummi Island. So he said, no, you need to do that. So I hung the phone up, talked to my wife, I'm pacing the floor. I called back in. Nancy Edquist. Where's Nancy? Nancy's right here. Board member, sat in my seat while I was out for, part-time. I called her and I said, Nancy, tell me, should I, really, I don't think I ought to be leaving town. She said, go. Okay. So I decided to leave town, one of the toughest things I ever did. And I stayed away for 2 weeks. What happened? What happened was something that was, just extraordinary. My team bonded together. There was no blame, only what I would call determined collaboration. And in the next 2 weeks, they brought the system up to a point of stability so that they could implement a new and replacement system. The team had learned the importance of being completely open about the problem. You know, the finger pointing didn't even get started. They engaged the staff and the residents. I mean, it's like the whole community owned this issue. And they focused on a solution, keeping their focus under really extreme conditions. I mean, we're a healthcare operation. You know, we really depend on our connectivity. They broke down the silos within their departments, and they just got the job done. I don't think we could have done anything close to what we did in that recovery had we not had that training, had that connectivity, had been in the same space with Pat, with others, around the principles of gracious space, if that hadn't been the case. It was and as far as me, it was a big deal for me. Leaving town was a big deal for my chief operating officer and the staff, but it was the best thing I could have done. I trusted that they could do it without me, and they did. And, you know, as a leader, if you're not into indispensability, which I'm not, it's really a great experience to come back and know that. Now, I'll tell you that I did have a few 24-hour nights even after that, because it took a while to get this baby landed. So there are scores of issues that I could talk with you about in the way that I think this applied to my community and my work life. My staff and board members who are here could probably give you their top 10 list of big, hot issues that we have dealt with. You're right, it's like a city, and cities are complicated, or it could be a spiritual community, or it could be, name your frame of reference. And we all have issues, and they're often very conflicted. But I'm not going to go on to any other stories because I've been given 7 minutes. I'm probably there already. And Melissa, wherever you are, you're going to pull me off this podium. But hey, you know what? We're getting toward baseball season, right? And I think it's maybe the time that we might want to consult some wisdom from one of the great sport sages. One of my favorites is Yogi Berra. But here's what Yogi says. He says, in theory, there is no difference between theory and practice. In practice, there is. Okay, so in typical Yogi, you're not quite sure what he said there, right? But here's what I think he said. Yogi is confirming that it wasn't the theory and the principles of gracious space at the foundation of our leadership change that made the difference for me in Horizon House. It was that practice. It was getting on the court, getting on the field, and using the tools that generated the kind of results and the kind of connectivity that we aspired for. The phone system recoveries, all the different resident disputes and so on. It was my teammates who put these principles into action and inspired me all along the way. I like the saying that nothing matters unless it matters. Nothing matters unless it matters. So Gracious Space and the talented team from the Center for Creative Leadership, for Ethical Leadership, have mattered as the source of inspiration, intelligence, and have given us a vocabulary for alignment and understanding for all of our team. You know, it's always about leadership. Thankfully, our organization made the choice over those 8 years to invest in our leaders, and with continuous learning experiences, giving permission to take risks, and modeling a genuine care for our mission. The tagline that we've developed at Horizon House is living and working in the spirit of community. So there's that spirit thing again, the spirit of community. Those words have defined us, they've guided us, they've sustained us. So I'd like to thank the Center for Ethical Leadership, Pat Hughes, for bringing these principles and methods of gracious space to us, and for accompanying us on our journey of learning and service. And thanks to my teammates, all of you who are here and all that could not be here tonight, for supporting and inspiring me all along the way. I feel I'm a better person than I was 8 years ago because I've been given that opportunity to learn with my team. And I'm very grateful for that. Recently, I want to close with, I was at a conference, and one of the CEOs there stated what his motto was for his organization. And it goes like this: love people, serve people, add value, and have fun. So our starting point as leaders is our genuine care for those that we serve. But it's not a soft and kind of immeasurable thing. It is fundamentally about making a difference that we can see and measure in terms of adding value. But let's never forget the part that is so critical to sustaining ourselves and our colleagues, the to have fun part. That's the part that keeps us going. And it's sure done that job for me. If you were to listen in on a meeting of my executive team, you poke your head up at the door, you would hear periodically regaling laughter. If you and you would be amused by the string of emails that may happen throughout the week, where we are, sharing the most nonsensical kind of things around some critical issue. We play together well. It's important as a way to keep our balance and our perspective. It's somewhat intentional. I've noticed that. So, all of you leaders out here, all of us, if you don't remember anything that I've commented about tonight, I'd like you to consider this motto: love people, serve people, add value, and for heaven's sakes, have fun. Thank you very much.